Today I'm going to discuss 5 common questions I receive about unemployability or TDIU. Welcome to VA Made Easy. I'm VA-accredited attorney and U.S. Army combat veteran Ed Farmer. Today I'm going to discuss 5 common questions I receive about unemployability or TDIU. If you've been denied your claim, visit me at vetlawoffice.com or call 1-800-700-4174. I provide zealous advocacy. I'll prep you for your CMP exams. We have access to medical nexus opinions. We'll help you get those buddy statements. Visit me at vetlawoffice.com. There's no fee unless I win. But for now, let's get into it. All right, so these are some common questions I receive about unemployability that I'm hoping to address and clear up. So the first question I receive about unemployability goes a little something like this. I was denied employability. I'm 75 years old. I haven't worked in decades. How does the VA think I could work? So when it comes to unemployability, the VA cannot take into account age. It doesn't matter if you're 24 years old or 94 years old. They cannot consider age when deciding whether or not you're entitled to unemployability. They have to almost sort of ignore your age. The standard isn't how old you are and if you could work. The standard is, do your service-connected disabilities preclude you from engaging in substantial gainful employment? So in other words, you have to show that you can't work not due to your age, but because of your service-connected disabilities. All right, question number 2 when it comes to unemployability. So I discussed a lot on this channel about unemployability and how it's an inferred claim. And many times I get people making comments saying, well, the VA didn't infer my claim for unemployability. So the rule is this, and this comes from a decision called Rice v. Shinseki. If during the pendency of an increased rating claim, the VA receives evidence of unemployability, they are then supposed to infer a claim for unemployability, even though you didn't ask for it, even though you didn't file VA Form 8940. However, in reality, the VA almost never does this. So don't count on the VA inferring the claim for you. If you know you want unemployability and you qualify for unemployability, just go ahead and file the 8940 now. The way the Rice decision comes into play is if you get granted unemployability and they should have inferred it prior to you filing the 8940, then you could get an earlier effective date for your TDIU. It's a complicated argument. I suggest talking to a VA-accredited representative if you're seeking help with the earlier effective date for unemployability. The third most common question I get about unemployability: I was denied unemployability. I've done nothing but construction work my whole life, and they say I could work an office job. So the VA must take into account, when it comes to unemployability, your occupational and educational history. So if you've done nothing but physical labor and have nothing higher than a high school diploma, then you have to show that you're still precluded from doing any sort of sedentary employment. Plus, don't forget that just because all your service-connected disabilities may be physical in nature, that doesn't mean you could sit down and work an office job. Lots of veterans with back issues can't sit for long periods of time. Maybe you're service-connected for your hands and you can't properly use a computer. Maybe you have a mental health condition and you can't get along with other people in an office environment. All these things must be taken into consideration before the VA says, hey, you could work an office job. The fourth most common question and concern I get about unemployability is there an income limit and can I work? So there's not an income limit per se. The standard, again, is you're unable to maintain substantial gainful employment due to your service-connected disabilities. And the way substantial gainful employment is typically defined is, are you capable of earning over the poverty line? And this also isn't just choosing a job that pays you under the poverty line. The VA is going to look at it and say, well, are you capable of working more than over the poverty line? So in other words, are you capable of substantial gainful employment? So just don't get a job that pays you under the poverty line in the hopes that you're going to get unemployability as well, because that's not really the way it works. If your service-connected disabilities are preventing you from substantial gainful employment or earning over the poverty line, that's a different story, and you may be able to have some sort of marginal employment, as they call it, plus unemployability. That's a tough route. We do help out with those cases, so if you need help, give us a call. And lastly, the fifth most common question and concern I get about unemployability is, can I get TDIU and Social Security at the same time? And the answer is yes. I think most people have a concern, well, I'm making income. I'm over the poverty limit for Social Security, so won't that preclude me from unemployability? No, because it's not earned income. So regular Social Security and SSDI do not preclude you from getting unemployability. However, if you're on a program called SSI, which is a welfare type program through Social Security, you may be precluded to receive that benefit if you're on unemployability, but not the opposite way around. So short answer, yes, you could get unemployability and Social Security at the same time. All right, that does it, guys. That's my 5 most common questions and concerns about unemployability. If you need help, visit me at vetlawoffice.com or call 1-800-700-4174. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, and as always, you have the power to change your VA card.